Imagine this: Ryan Holiday, a 19-year-old college dropout hustling his way into the office of Robert Greene, the best-selling author known as the modern Machiavelli. No fancy credentials, just raw determination. He's about to learn that obstacles aren't walls, but doors hiding new paths. But here's the catch. What if the very thing blocking you, say, a crushing deadline or a volatile market, is the opportunity you can't afford to miss? That ancient Stoic secret, that the obstacle is the way, is about to flip your whole mindset. You think obstacles stop you, but what if your perception is the real problem? Let's crack open the story of how one controversy flipped a brand's fortune overnight. When Ryan Holiday became director of marketing at American Apparel, the brand was swimming in controversy, complaints, backlash, and heated debates. Instead of retreating, Ryan embraced the outrage, realizing that the noise was free publicity everyone else craved. Rather than running from the obstacle, the company leaned in, transforming its problem into a hallmark of identity. But would this bold gamble actually pay off or sink the brand's reputation? The Stoics teach us to see obstacles like a river, not a blockade, but a current we must navigate. Think of the obstacle as a teacher disguised in hardship. Just like a river reshapes the landscape over time, obstacles reshape your character and strategy. It's not about brute force, but adapting your mindset to flow with what's in front of you instead of crashing against it. By redefining American Apparel's chaos as a spotlight, Ryan's approach reveals a deeper truth. What seems to stop you can reroute you toward success. Obstacles force you out of complacency and inventiveness emerges. Suddenly, setbacks aren't dead ends but launch pads for breakthrough. The controversy wasn't just noise, it was the brand's new voice, louder and clearer than ever before. You're stuck and anger or fear floods in. Hold that fire, because the real power lies in what you do next, not what you feel. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, spent days amid wars and plagues, yet remained unshakably calm. His secret? He didn't let emotions dictate his moves. When his empire faced threats, from rebels to natural disasters, he focused relentlessly on clear, deliberate action. He knew anger or panic only muddled decisions. But what does that actually look like when everything's on fire? Think of emotions like a thick, swirling fog on a mountain pass. You can't see clearly, so you freeze or stumble into the wrong path. The Stoics argue that to break through, you must clear the fog by stepping back, calming the mind and focusing on what's actionable. That clarity is a lantern, showing the next solid footing on a rocky cliff. Once Marcus focused, he moved decisively, rallying troops, making peace, adapting strategies. His empire survived because he traded emotional chaos for steady steps. For you, it means transforming frustration into deliberate acts, sending that difficult email, solving that problem piece by piece, taking a breath and then launching forward. That's how action turns obstacles into victories. You can't always control what happens, but your response, that's your kingdom. Ryan shows us how mastering yourself is the real battle. During his first presidential campaign, Barack Obama faced crushing defeats and media skepticism. But instead of cracking, he controlled the only thing he could, his mindset and response. Obama internalized every loss as a lesson, refusing to react with bitterness. Each obstacle fueled a steady, strategic calm that won over voters in the long run. How exactly does a politician turn relentless negativity into unstoppable momentum? Stoic philosophy teaches that while we can't control external events, market crashes, political attacks, or even other people's decisions, we're entirely in charge of our will. It's like being a captain in a stormy sea. You can't control the waves, but you can steer the ship. This inner mastery is a fortress no external force can penetrate. By fixing his will, Obama changed what seemed like uncontrollable chaos into a path toward victory. The transformation? You stop playing victim to circumstance. Instead, you become the architect of your own fate. When you master your inner world, even the wildest storms become opportunities to steer stronger and smarter. The obstacle often repeats itself, laughing at your failure. But what if that repetition is a secret code to success? We all know Thomas Edison lit up the world, but history forgets how many candles he burned through before that first electric light actually worked. Thousands of failed experiments, bitter exhaustion, and public doubt didn't stop him. Instead, each failure was a clue, a tiny recalibration toward the breakthrough. It makes you wonder, how did Edison keep going when most of us would have quit? Think of failure like a rough draft rather than a final grade. It's not a full stop, but an editor's red pen marking where to improve. Failure gives you data, proof of what doesn't work, making the path to what does completely clearer. Like a sculptor chiseling away rough edges, progress is a repetitive, imperfect process. When you start embracing failure as iterative feedback, your momentum becomes unstoppable. You stop fearing the bumps and grow addicted to the refinements each challenge demands. That's how obstacles turn from blockers into stepping stones, when you get comfortable failing forward. Limited resources, impossible deadlines, toxic competition. These aren't chains, but rocket fuel if you know how to ignite the spark. The original iPhone wasn't just a product. It was a revolution, born from a tight timeline and limited tech. Apple's team faced impossible technical obstacles, but used those very constraints to rethink design and user experience, stripping away unnecessary features to create something elegant and intuitive. It's a classic case of necessity breeding invention, but how do you flip pressure into innovation rather than panic? Imagine pressure cooker conditions in a kitchen. Intense heat and steam force ingredients to transform quickly, unlocking flavors impossible in a slow boil. Likewise, scarcity or limits distill your focus, forcing you to prioritize ruthlessly and innovate. Constraints wring creativity out of your resources and mindset, turning that pressure into pure energy. When you embrace limits, you stop wasting energy on distractions or luxuries. Your work sharpens, your resolve hardens, and your results surprise even yourself. Obstacles aren't just challenges. They're the rocket fuel propelling you faster and farther than plenty of resources ever could. Remember Ryan's first day with Robert Greene, the young dropout staring down his self-doubt and the impossible task ahead. The obstacle wasn't the barrier, it was the path itself, leading him to mastery. Now your obstacles, they're invitations dressed as difficulties. Next time you hit a wall, pause, reframe, and act fiercely within your control. Try turning your biggest roadblock today into the doorway you've been searching for. The obstacle is not your enemy, it's your way forward. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.